Oh, I'm so bored. Can't go outside. The prequel to World War Z's out there. Don't want to play Tekken 7 online either. The net play is terrible. And I already caught up with most of the shows I care about. So, what to do? Maybe I can pass the time by reliving the good old days. I just recently got my hands on this here PlayStation Classic. Why don't I revisit a classic from the days of yesterday? You know what I'm saying? Ah yes, Tekken. I can never seem to escape you. With its first release on consoles being in 1995, its presence in the modern-day gaming scene sure is something, especially for a 3D fighting game. As I covered in previous videos, such as the ones about Kensei, Sacred Fist, and Tekken 1, Tekken was one of the first fighting games to feature 3D animation, as well as a unique control scheme where the attack buttons were assigned to specific limbs on a character's body, rather than attack strength like in many other fighters. While the series didn't really kick off until Tekken 3, the first two games were admirable, to say the least. So admirable, in fact, that it caught the eye of certain developers around the globe, trying to cash in on the series' success. Some more blatantly than others. Hey everyone, I'm LordBento, and today we're going to be looking at some unauthorized ports of Tekken games on various systems. AKA, we're going to be looking at some bootleg Tekken games. And we're going to do just that with this here little paperweight that I found and did some shenanigans on. How appropriate. The first game we'll be taking a stab at today is Tekken 2 on the NES. A Tekken game that was released for a console that's 2 whole generations behind its original console release? That can't be good. The developers of this port, Hummer Team, were quite famous in the realm of video game tomfoolery, with some of their work including that Sonic NES hack, Somari, and Street Fighter 4. No, not that one. That one. I think we're in good hands. The game has 2 modes, a 1-player game and a versus mode, along with the ability to change the level, which I'm assuming is the difficulty of the AI in the 1-player mode. Alright, let's just jump into the 1-player mode and get started. Something's not right here. Okay, so despite being called Tekken 2 and having the Tekken 2 logo thing with Kazuya's eyebrows and stuff going on at the start, the game is actually based off of Tekken 1. The sprite work of the characters heavily resemble the character models from that game, and the stages themselves too. Well, maybe not the river one, I don't know where the fuck that's from. The versus menu portraits and the win poses are specifically from the first Tekken as well. And if you let the game sit at the title screen for a bit, the Tekken 1 arcade opening starts to play, albeit in a form of a slideshow. They even got everyone from the original starting roster in here. There's Paul, Law, King, Michelle, Kazuya, Nina, Heihachi, Wang, Law, again, Kazuya, again, Paul, again, what? Yeah, so the game has the original base roster except for Yoshimitsu and Jack, replacing them with Heihachi and Wang, for some reason. Oh, and they have 2 rows of the exact same characters, just in case you missed them the first time. Thank goodness! I thought I'd never find my boys Law and Law. As far as sound goes, I think it's okay. The overall sound effects are fine. As fine as an NES game can be, I guess. The same can be said for how the game looks too. It definitely feels like an NES game. Everything's got that brown colored tint to it. The life bars and timer are overlaid on top of a big ass black bar that takes up a quarter of the screen at the top, rather than being overlaid directly at the top of the screen like in actual Tekken games. The height of certain characters is a bit weird as well. Half of them are properly scaled to how they look like in the original game, while others aren't. Heihachi looks like a mini-me of himself, while Michelle is a literal Amazon. Also, the character sprites randomly flickers at times. Yeah, that's cool or whatever, but how's the actual game though? Well, since this 3D fighting game is on a console that can't handle 3D games, Tekken on the NES is a 2D fighter. The gameplay feels like Street Fighter 2, only not really. Movement feels fast yet slow. Everyone feels heavy when they move. You move left or right slower than normal, and you jump really high, but only stay in the air for like a nanosecond before dropping to the ground like a ton of bricks. It's as if all the characters are sacks of bowling balls. Attacking is simple. You got one button for punching, one for kicking, each with variations for standing, crouching, and jumping. Combos aren't really a thing in here, as there is a huge pushback after every attack. Like, a ridiculous amount of pushback. You can't really follow up with anything else after a jab because you'll be too far away from them once it connects. So you're left with single strikes to deal damage, which normals don't even do that much to begin with. With that said, you pretty much have to rely on special moves to deal big damage, which are done with motion inputs plus an attack button, including the quarter circle forward motion and the down motion. Everyone has at least 3 specials, most of which are just strings from the character's actual move list in the original game. Paul has his Bone Breaker in this, which can be done with down punch, and Law's got his Rave War combo, being quarter circle forward punch. However, there's a slight delay of inputs, so pressing a combination of buttons doesn't often work sometimes, and the move you were trying to do doesn't even come out. In addition, attacks have gigantic pushbacks on hit, so each time you hit your opponent, you'll send them practically flying more than halfway across the other side of the screen. Law, for example, is super garbage in this game. Almost all his specials are multi-hitting attacks that usually whiff after the first strike because of the pushback on hit. His only special move that's not a combination attack is his down input, which is his slow unblockable punch in the original game. Only in this game, it's not unblockable. It's just slow. I found that the best character to use is Kazuya. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean Kaz-Ooiz. See, the AI in this game is pretty stupid. For the most part, all they do is keep moving forward and attack you. They never block. So with Kazuya, all you really need to do is quarter circle forward kick. In this game, it's the first 2 hits of Rising Sun, which is a high into a low. He becomes airborne when he does it too, so the move now has a giant hitbox from almost the top half of the screen to the bottom half of the screen. They will never not get hit by it. And once you get them into the corner, it's pretty much over. Just be careful to not get corner trapped yourself, because you're still vulnerable when you are getting up off the ground, and these bastards can and will infinite you to death. Once you beat everyone in the roster, twice because everyone's there twice, you have to beat 3 endurance type matches from Mortal Kombat. Because why would you just cheese only 1 character when you can cheese 2 for the price of 1? Afterwards, you get a slideshow of every character's win pose. Why? Because in this game, everyone's a winner. And when everyone's a winner, no one is. Huh? Oh yeah, sometimes if you reset the game, Battle Arena Toshinden pops up for some reason. Not the game, not the characters, or anything like that. Just the logo. Okay. Well, that's all for Tekken 2 on the NES. Next up, we have Tekken 3 for the same console. Haven't we been here already? Okay, so Tekken 3 was developed by the same guys who made Tekken 2 on the NES. It's literally the same game as before, but somehow worse. Michelle, King, and Law don't exist despite being on the character select. Law becomes Paul, King defaults to Heihachi, and Michelle is now Nina. characters flicker even more than they did before, and the character win poses have been replaced with a generic win and lose screen. Fantastic.
Alright, ain't nothing else to see here. Next!
We got Tekken 2 again? Again? Oh, wait, no. It's on the SNES this time, and it doesn't look like it's made by the same people. Okay, I'm curious. The game's got two modes of play, arcade and versus, the usual. You also have an options mode where you can not only change the difficulty, but this time now also the number of rounds and the time limit in a round. The overall look of this game is different compared to the other ones. They got the main menu, character select screen, HUD, and sprite work of the characters based off of the real Tekken 2. The stages here are also based off of the original stages as well. Hell, even the controls are like the actual game, with there being 2 buttons for punching and 2 buttons for kicking. Generally speaking, Tekken 2 on the SNES is emulating the look of Tekken decently. Everything else, on the other hand... The music is bargain bin versions of songs taken from other games. The menu theme is Gravity Beetle's theme from Mega Man X3, while Yoshimitsu's theme is Akira's theme from Virtua Fighter 2. As for the gameplay, it doesn't get any better either, as it feels a lot stiffer and not good. Despite having 2 buttons for punching and 2 buttons for kicking, each button does the exact same thing. The 2 punch buttons do the exact same punch, and the 2 kick buttons do the exact same kick. They don't differ in strength or limb, so you could press either or and still get the same exact result. Trying to move around is quite difficult, as there is like a good second or 2 of delay, causing you to either move later than you think you would, or not move at all. This causes dashing to be total ass, so jumping around is pretty much your go-to for movement. Speaking of delays, there are motion inputs in this game, which include crouch dash and... Shit, I think that's it. I mean there's more, but the rest are just single directions and then attack. Either that or just insanely hard to find and or pull off. It's like the game flat out refuses to let you do moves. I've even been able to do Heihachi's Death Fist like once or twice using the original motion, before the game said, fuck it, and stopped letting me do it altogether. What? So most of the game is spent spamming normals because those are literally the only moves that work. This is a problem because the AI is hard as balls. They tend to block virtually everything you throw at them, and are always attacking. You could be a full screen away from them, and they'll just attack the nothing in front of them. Also, they have no problems doing special moves all day either. The only possible way to get a hit on them is by counter-hitting them. That is, if you're lucky enough to interrupt them in the time before you trade blows instead. Also, the version of the game I have is busted, where timeouts just freeze the whole game. Every time I try to cheese the opponent by getting at least 1 hit in before laying it out thanks to these infinitely scrolling stages, I get stuck at an infinitely loading black screen. Nice. The only way to beat the AI that I've found was to space yourself a bit and do your unblockable from the original game, which is now blockable for some reason, by pressing either down or back with punch and kick. If it hits, it takes out literally a half of their life bar. If it doesn't hit, then at least you get chip damage, which can kill if their health is low enough. And what do you get at the end of this? No final boss against Devil, the final boss of actual Tekken 2. No ominous stage with the mirrors everywhere. No staff roll because of course there wouldn't be. Just this black screen with the word congratulations. And then the game resets. Alright, fair enough. So next up we got Tekken 3 Special for the Sega Genesis. Or is it Tekken Special 3? I don't know. But I do know that this game is based off of Tekken 2 on the SNES, which means it's probably made by the same people. Uh-oh. Aside from the awful looking logo, the game has similar menus, character sprites, and HUD to the game. The stages are similar as well, infinite, wallless, and are pretty much pixelated screenshots of the original game's stages. The game also adds Law and Nina as playable characters to the original 6 in the SNES game, bumping up the total roster to 8. And that's where the similarities end. Everything else is different. The music this time is borrowed from Fighter's Megamix. The overall gameplay is also different. While the SNES version gives you 4 face buttons to work with, you only have 3 here. 1 for punch, 1 for kick, and 1 for blocking.
Oh no.
Yeah, a dedicated button for blocking? Not very Tekken-like. What's also not Tekken-like is the atrocious movement. It's similar to Tekken 2 on the SNES, in that there is an input delay on everything, but much worse. You press and hold forward to walk forward, and your character just scoots up like half an inch. Dashing is much worse. The only thing it does is make you scoot up a bigger distance a bit. A whole inch this time, but has a 2-second recovery on it for some reason, leaving you vulnerable for attacks. So why even dash when you can just jump around, which actually recovers faster than dashing? Oh, and much like the other game, trying to attack sucks ass as well. Special moves are a thing here, of course, but they are much more difficult to pull off because of the worst delay. While most of the inputs of the special moves are the same as the ones in SNES Tekken 2, I can almost never get them out, and end up just dick jabbing the air. Also, if you thought the AI in SNES Tekken 2 was bad, oh boy. The AI in this game make them look like a fucking cakewalk in comparison. They give you little to no breathing room. As soon as you try to create space between you and them, they just start swinging. They literally just keep pressing buttons as they move forward toward you. They also can pull off special moves with ease, and can actually link combos, like with a proper launcher and everything. Both of which are not humanly possible as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and did I mention that this game includes projectiles as special moves? Nina does the animation of Blonde Bomb, shoots out a fucking Hadoken. Lee does his flip kick, Sonic Boom comes out. Heihachi uses it unblockable and does a power wave. Oh, and Paul's got Godoken.
Hey man, where are you going? I'm gonna go find whoever thought that this was a good idea. I just wanna talk.
But what's with the kendo stick?
I just wanna talk!
If you aren't playing anyone with projectiles, you are already losing, because it's already super hard to hit the AI when you're up close and personal with them, since they can cancel out of any attack and instantly block anything, even out of special moves. You can try hitting them without projectiles, but they'll tag you back, tenfold. Fortunately, timeouts don't cause the game to crash, so I was able to beat the thing by waiting for the AI to do something stupid, like jump kicks, and then spamming the shit out of Nina's Hadoken. And because the stages were infinitely scrolling, I lamed it out until the time was out. Why Nina? Because her Hadoken was the only move I could ever figure out to do. And after narrowly beating Kazuya, after 28 minutes of pure unadulterated bullshit, what are we rewarded with at the end of it all? The same damn congrats screen as the last game. What else could it be?
Up until now, all these games are pretty much par for the course. They were at least not unexpected. But this last one I'm going to show you is something that defies all sense of belief. Something so crazy, something so mind-boggling, something so it's Virtua Fighter 2 versus Tekken 2.
Pardon me, I mean VR Fighter versus Taken 2. Who would have thought that the two juggernauts of 3D fighting games would come together in a 2D fighting game, on a bootleg released on a much older console than the original games, no less. Actually, didn't Sega release a port of Virtua Fighter 2 on the Genesis like super late into that console's lifespan though? Yeah, whatever. While all the previous games can be considered pairs with each other, with Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 on the NES, and SNES Tekken 2 and Genesis Tekken 3 Special, this one is a standalone title, as it is by itself and has no other counterpart. That being said, however, everyone from SNES Tekken 2 makes an appearance, except for Yoshimitsu. The Virtua Fighter characters that join in on the cast include Akira, Pai, Wolf, Leon, Shun-Di, Bon? Honey? Oh! Is this Virtua Fighter vs. Tekken 2? Or is this Virtua Fighter vs. Tekken 2 featuring Honey and Bon from the Fighting Viper series? When you actually jump into a match, the game looks very Virtua Fighter-esque. It even has the HUD and the announcer from Virtua Fighter. The game also features many of the stages and music from Virtua Fighter, but none from Tekken. The only things that seem to be remotely Tekken is the fact that the stages are infinite instead of having ring outs, and the Tekken characters themselves, but even that is kinda iffy. It does share the same overall gameplay and control scheme as Tekken 3 Special though, with a punch, kick, and block button. But then again, that's the exact button layout for Virtua Fighter, so yeah. Special moves also exist in this game, but it's more like SNES Tekken 2's specials and not of Tekken 3 Specials, as there are no projectiles. Thank God. They aren't as difficult to pull off either, like in the other games. Most of them consist of actual inputs from the original games. Well, at least as close as they can be, probably. However, just like the other games, this game is horrendous. Movement is god-awful. You press any direction at all, your boy moves like half a centimeter that way. Dashing is apparently a thing, because I can see the computer do it, but I can't do it. So I resorted to jumping for my movement needs. And just like before, the AI is ruthless as fuck. They're not as insane as in Tekken 3 Special, mind you, but they are still a bunch of assholes, even on the normal difficulty. At just stage 1, Kazuya here is a real champ at taking your life in just seconds. Apparently the hitboxes on the jumping kicks are so huge that they can hit you while you're lying on the floor. The CPU can do this with ease and so frequently that they end up juggling you, without even juggling you. Don't bother trying to use this tactic against them though, because jump kicks are almost impossible to do, and never come out when you do it. You have to perfectly time it so you kick before you jump, but not too early because you'll just do a standing kick. Also, you can't tell if attacks are highs, mids, or lows until they fucking hit you. Since there are no projectile special moves, you can't cheese the opponent at a distance, so you have to get up close and hit them. Too bad it mostly ends up with you getting hit more often than you hitting them. You get one hit in, they get 5. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I always ended up eating shit. I was only barely able to beat the game by cheesing with Kazuya and spamming the shit out of Rising Sun, which I found in this game was a forward kick kick kick. It's super good because it has multiple hits, has a built-in mix-up, and has stupid fast recovery so you can do it again almost instantly. It works wonders for like the first half of the run when you're fighting the Tekken cast, because it also crushes almost anything on their move list. However, once you reach your first Virtua Fighter guy, it's not so great anymore. Now I'm not the world's #1 Virtua Fighter fan, but I am a big enough fan to know that their fucking dick jabs are the fastest dick jabs in the entire fighting game world. Why is this important? Because it seems like every move they do has the quickness of the dick jab. They also have attacks that move them forward as they hit you, closing the gap between you two as they proceed to beat the hell out of you in one fell swoop. What the fuck is he doing? Is he literally just standing there dick jabbing the air while I'm holding block? He's not even trying to move. He's been in the same spot for like 10 seconds doing the same shit. Okay, what happens if I let go? Oh shit! Ah! For the latter half of the arcade mode, I had to resort to timeouts to get any further. It was that ridiculous. I'd say that almost every Virtua Fighter character gave me a hard time. Wolf's got his dumbass shoulder that travels like half the screen and does a shit ton of damage. Shaun is an asshole with his backdash kick move and jump attacks. And Akira because of... Yeah, that. And after 30 minutes of loss after loss, I successfully lamed him out and finally beat arcade mode. At the end of it all, you are then congratulated and presented with a sketched portrait of the character you were using. That's actually pretty cool. Probably not worth going through the hell that is this arcade mode for. I went back and did the arcade mode one more time on easy mode with Honey, just to check out if it'd be that fucking difficult still. And nope, it was actually a lot easier. I was able to beat the thing in less than half the time it took me in normal mode. All I did was cartwheel kicks and the AI kept eating it. And my ass. And that concludes the Tekken Bootleg extravaganza.
Almost every game I looked at today suffered from stiff controls, broken AI, bad movement, special moves that don't make sense, and are just awful. I think the only one that I thought that was halfway into being halfway decent was Tekken 2 on the NES. At least you can do shit in there. I'd also put Virtua Fighter 2 vs Tekken 2 right below it, just on its concept alone. But other than that, nah, I'm good. Well, I'm gonna go now and senton splash into my bathtub or something. Playing all those bootlegs has made me feel very filthy. I'm gonna see you all in the next video. I don't know what it's gonna be on, but until then, peace. Oh my god, this shit is disgusting. Who the hell thought of backflip into Sonic Boom?